Yo, what's up, guys? So, with Midnight Alpha on the way, Blizzard has actually given us a chance to check out things just a teeny tiny little bit early. So, we won't be releasing this until everything's all good to talk about it. But, I do want to record a quick little something something for you because we do actually have access to the warrior talents, at least in the very first iteration of Alpha. So, we're going to show you some stuff, we're going to talk about it, but remember, a lot of this is almost certain to change. However, things are off to a pretty cool start. Let's have a look at Fury. So, don't take my actual, points that I have assigned as any sort of indication of what's going to be good or whatever. I'm just messing around with Mountain Thane because it has some interesting ways of synergizing. It feels pretty good to cleave, just kind of like a fun setup, so... I love Slayer, but I'm going to mess around with Mountain Thane first. But it's also a fine place to sort of guide you through the warrior side of the tree and the fury side of the tree. Okay, so let's get started. I am going to just read through all of these to you guys, and we're going to go through it together. So, let's see what's up. So, starting off with Zerker Stance and D-Stance, like usual. Going into Fast Footwork, War Machine, Leeching Strikes, and Thunderclap as usual. Got Impending Victory, Heroic Leap, and Stormbolt as options. Going down into Second Wind, Frothing Berserker, Bounding Stride, Pain and Gain, and then we have Intervene, but we have a new ability called Interpose, which is running at a high speed towards a target location near your allies, which is just taking 30% of all damage dealt to allies within 3 yards for 8 seconds, or until you take at least a certain chunk of damage. So, I mean, is this supposed to just shield people from AoE attacks, perhaps, rather than like a actual hit? So that's going to be kind of interesting for tanks, I guess. Then we have Second Wind, Frothing Berserker, Bounding Stride, right? Then we go through that. Then we have Spell Reflect, Overwhelming Rage. We have Rallying Cry. We have Crackling Thunder. We have Shockwave. So things are looking pretty standard so far. Strength from Armor. Honed Reflexes, which I think is a little bit buffed. I think now it's... I thought it was 5% before, now it might be 10. Which is cool. Then we have Piercing Howl or Berserker Shout. We have Fear. We have the Rumbling Earth for, longer shockwave. Bigger shockwave range with shorter cooldown on it if we hit 3 targets. We have Armor and Stam. We have Barbaric Training, which is buffing Slam, Thunderclap, and Whirlwind. We have Concussive Blows, a shorter cooldown on Pummel and more damage to targets that we land a Pummel on. Double Time. We have our Fear options. We have a new one called Resonant Voice, which the effects of your shouts are 20% longer. This is mostly applying to, Berserker Shout and Rallying Cry, and then, I think Piercing Howl as well. That's kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sold on that one, but okay, interesting. Then we have Rend is a talent for Fury, but also Blood and Thunder, which makes Thunderclap rend targets in AoE. So this is another reason why I wanted to try out Mountain Thane. Is because you can do a whole lot of bleed fury stuff again, which is actually pretty neat. So I'm just experimenting. It's new, it's different, so I'm like, yeah, let's try it out. Then we have Cruel Strikes, critical strike chance increased, and critical strike damage executed increased with 10%. This is probably a talent I would actually move somewhere else as this particular build. Where, though? I don't know. Maybe Last Stand. I don't know. That's kind of a interesting one. And then you could also take the other new talent here. Just do that. I would like to have haste, but this will do for now. I'll show it to you in a second. So, dual wield specialization, damage increase, movement speed increase, really nice. Deft strikes, mastery increase, and auto attack damage increase by 100%. That's cool for Fury because we have Berserker Stance increasing our auto attack damage, which is neat. We have Crushing Force, Bloodthirst deals more damage, and has increased critical strike damage. So this is, used to be 2 points you could put in that, now it's only 1. This is your Wrecking Throw and Shattering Throw option is now down here. And then you have an option between Retaliation, which is where you actually have to get hit to attack back, or you could do Sidearm, which it just procs an attack, which is probably better overall, but maybe for leveling, when you're getting hit frequently, you could do that. But anyway, you got some options, or for Thane, you could maybe do, instead of this, you could Pain and Gain. I don't know why Crackling Thunder is really attached to Pain and Gain. Kind of like a weird option. Not really sure what we can move for that. Maybe Concussive Blows can go into that for Mountain Thane, so you just have all the Thunderclap stuff. Could be kind of fun. Then down at the bottom we have Anger Management, only applies to Recklessness. So it doesn't apply to Blade Storm anymore for Fury, which is a bit of a bummer, but okay. Then we have Last Stand, which is for everybody. It's like a pseudo cheat death. When your health is dropped below 20%, you marshal your inner strength to increase your maximum health by 30% for 15 seconds. Instantly heal yourself for that amount. It can only occur once every 4 minutes, though, but kind of making warriors a little harder to kill, which is cool. So Spear now, they changed Spear a teeny tiny bit. So you throw a spear at target location, chaining all enemies in the area for 6 seconds and pulling them to within 8 yards of the spear, which is kind of what it did before, right? Sort of. It didn't really yank them before, though, but now it does. Like, it pulls them within 8 yards of the spear. It's like, okay, what's that? The first time an enemy runs away from the spear while chained, they will be pulled towards the spear again. That's kind of interesting. Does that maybe help people not bug out of it? So the issues before is it didn't last very long and people could bug out of it, and everybody could get out of it really easily. I wonder if the ways people could get out of the spear are still ways they could get out of the spear. I don't really see much proved with that. And then they moved one of our really nice honor talents into a baseline talent, which we probably won't have access to. I say that now, though, but remember, we're going to be gaining levels, and every level we gain is going to be, like, is probably going to alternate between a Fury and a Warrior tree, so maybe we will be able to get that. Maybe we don't need to be worried about that. But I think being on the baseline tree could be good, because then it frees up honor talent spots, right? So that's kind of cool. Makes it more comfortable to take Battlefield Commander and Mastering Commander. So I spoke about it negatively there for a moment, but I think this actually could be good, because we're going to get more talents to put in our tree, so... It's looking like we might not have access to everything we want, but remember, we get like 5 more talents each, I think. So 5 more talent points each, so it's gonna look good. So the Fury tree has been changed more. So let's look at this. So Bloodthirst, right? Starting off with Bloodthirst, then we have our Enrage options, right? We have Raging Blow, Fresh Meat, Enraged Regen, Improved Raging Blow, Focus in Chaos, Sudden Death. We have to choose between Invigorating Fury or Warpaint, so that's interesting now. Improved Execute, Improved Whirlwind, where it just straight up gives you the force ability Cleave. And I'm going to skip ahead just a teeny bit, just so you can see what's up. So this is Whirlwind just deals more damage when it hits 3 or more targets, and you have no stacks of Improved Whirlwind. So, you know, that sort of encourages you to do your rotation well, use all your stacks, and then do it for a big Whirlwind. Currently, it doesn't seem to be buffing the damage of Thunderclap, but if it does, that would be cool. And then you have, while Improved Whirlwind is active, Rampage strikes all targets in front of you for physical damage. So, deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. So it's like just more AoE buff, right? It just deals increased damage, and it hits all targets in front of you, or it only hits those targets in front of you for that amount of damage. Anyway. There's some potential for more Fury AoE there, I think. Definitely worth testing. Then we have Improved Bloodthirst. There's a lot of these points that used to be like 2 points, but now it's just 1 point, I think. But this one's still 2 points. So Bloodthirst damage increased by 10% and critical strike damage increased by 5%. So this is kind of weird, though. Look at the talent. It increases the crit chance by 5% no matter what. And then you put another point and it just increases it by 10. Damage by 10, but the crit strike is still 5, so... Not sure if that's supposed to be 10-10, but whatever. We have Rampage. We have Cruelty. We have Vicious Contempt, only goes to 1 point now. And Cold Steel Hot Blood is still the same. But this is different, right? Rampage increases the damage of your next Bloodthirst by 10%. Scent of Blood, that's new. Hack and Slash is still in, but you kind of choose between one or the other. But maybe not eventually when you have more points, right? We have Blood Craze. Blood Craze is now critical strike damage of Bloodthirst, not critical strike chance. So but it still stacks up to 5. We have Unslaked Thirst, where Bloodthirst critical strikes increase the damage of Raging Blow by 10%. So there's going to be a lot of these things where like crits do certain things, and I think they are trying to make crit a more valuable stat for Fury. So crit mastery could be a thing. So targets critically struck, this is another thing. Targets critically struck by Bloodthirst take 20% increased or additional damage from your bleeds for 12 seconds. And we get another bleed in the form of Deep Wounds. So Fury not only gets Rend, if you want it, Thunderclap, it also gets Deep Wounds. So this is coming from Execute only, though. It causes the target to suffer bleed damage over 6 seconds. So you have Deep Wounds, you have a Gushing Wound, you have Bloodborne, which buffing your bleed damage. Then you have Rend. Then if you come down a little bit, you're going to have Odin's Fury as well. So there's a lot of bleeds. The bleed Fury build is back, potentially. So we have Recklessness, Massacre, low health Execute, but higher health Execute. We have Wrath of Fury, just a little bit of Raging Blow damage and chance to reset itself into Rampage and Ruin like we talked about. Deft Expertise, which Bloodthirst's chance to enrage you is increased by 20%. And if you're enraged, Bloodthirst extends enrage by 1 second. That's 2 points for that. So we have, I think it's a 55, sorry, Bloodthirst is a 50% chance to enrage you normally. And then you have, I can just hover over the ability, right? Then you have 65, and then it would be 85, correct? Nope, still 65. Okay, so with all of this together, it's 65% chance to do it. Okay, so that's a good chance to enrage. Then you always, then you'll, always enrage the first time. That's kind of nice to just charge it in Bloodthirst and you're enraged. I like that talent. But that's cool. So that's a 65% chance to enrage you. And so when you do it, it'll keep it going. And then the crits, if you do this talent, Bloodthirst critical strikes that are twice as much health and enrage you for another 2 seconds. So that could be a fun talent to put eventually. So Executioner's Wrath, Execute generates 5 additional rage and increase the damage of Rampage. So they have all these these abilities, like where if you do something or crit something with one ability, then it gives you a buff to the next ability. So they're trying to encourage you to not just spam one thing. Like you kind of actually rotate between your abilities, which I think is good, right? So like you crit a Bloodthirst, you do Raging Blow for a bit, right? You stack up a couple stacks of Raging Blow, you go back and hit a Bloodthirst and it crits and it does more damage, or you execute and then you're going to want to Rampage right after, right? Then maybe that Rampage will feed you some hack and slash things, or Rampage will increase the damage of your next Bloodthirst by 10%, right? So there's going to be a lot of things that do what Fury does well, which is always give you a good button to press. And I feel like that's especially the case with Thane. And it could be even nice with Slayer. Right now, Slayer felt like there's like a little bit of gaps in the rotation. But that's probably because I just need to spec differently or whatever. But Thane feels really good right now. Thane feels smooth. You always have buttons to press, which is nice. I'm even using Odin's Fury as Thane. Because Bladestorm does not get its CD reduced by Anger Management. It will get its CD reduced by Slayer, which will probably still feel nice to pair that up with the Slayer and Bladestorm, but I think Thane might like Odin's Fury, which is fine. Odin's Fury is cool, and it gets buffed by the stuff. So check this stuff out, man. So when Raging Blow resets its own cooldown, your auto attack damage and speed is increased by 30% for 6 seconds. That's cool, right? So check this freaking talent out, man. How many times have I been playing Fury Warrior and be like, man, Fury Warrior needs a cheat death, bro. Like Diablo Immortals Barbarian, look at this thing. Kill or be killed. When you would sustain fatal damage, you instead fly into an unstoppable rage, becoming unkillable, immune to CC. At least it says immune to moving parent effects, which I hope is all CC. Because if you can get this procced and then just like sheep you or stun you, it's going to be kind of awkward. But if you're literally immune to CC, that's insane. But it looks like you're probably just going to be immune to like slows and roots. Anyway, becoming unkillable and immune to movement and parrying effects for 8 seconds as you seek revenge on your would-be killer. If you kill your killer in that time, you emerge triumphant from your blind rage with at least 20% of your maximum health intact. If you are not victorious, you die. This effect can only occur every 5 minutes. How cool is that, man? How cool is that? Fury Warrior gets like a cheat death, like a Tryndamere ult, or like a Barbarian from Diablo Immortal, like low health, unkillable rage kind of thing. It's so sick. What's going to be a little bit annoying is when all the Fury Warriors and BGs are just running at me and we kill them, they don't get me a killing blow. That's going to be annoying. But other than that, that's pretty sick. That's a very creative talent and very cool and very, very Fury Warrior. So if you're like 1v1ing somebody, like in a BG and they kill you, or a World PP, they kill you, it's like, yeah, think again, sucker. And then you can like, kill them before they kill you. But remember, you're going to have like Rallying Cry that lasts for a long time if you take this talent. And it's going to be on a 1-minute cooldown if you take this talent. It's going to give you leech and movement speed for a while. You're going to have Last Stand proccing when you're low health, right? So that you're going to have all this extra HP, that nice little healing if you Rallying Cry before you hit Last Stand, right? And then you're going to have, at the end of all that, you're going to be an unkillable Berserker for 8 seconds, then see if you can finally kill your guy. So that, all together, sounds so sick for Fury Warrior survivability. And then we also have Avatar, and then Unbridled Ferocity is still the same. So I don't know if I really, really deeply want to get into arms right now, but I feel like I need to show you guys one thing. Because Fury looks awesome, and arms is looking like it's going to be a little bit sad due to this. Look, you have to pick between freaking die by the sword, like your massive defensive cooldown, which is a 2-minute cooldown now, by the way, or ignore pain. Ouch, that's not nice. That can change though. You do have the ability to heal off of your bleeds, which is still cool. And so you can hide behind ignore pain for that. You do have your veteran vitality, and you do have last stand if you want it. So there's I think in general, some of the feedback may indeed be that they're trying to reduce defensive cooldowns across the board, and if that's the case, you know, no worries. But having to choose between ignore pain and die by the sword is rough. And then when you look at Fury, and you're looking at Mountain Thane, and you're gonna have all these cool like ways to rotate between your abilities, and you're gonna have these cool kind of like defensive layers of like a ton of health, and then when that health finally fades, and they maybe kill you, you just go into an unstoppable rage where you can have an additional 8 seconds to try to kill them. I mean, that sounds pretty freaking awesome. So I think Fury's sick. I think I have really been enjoying Fury and War Within, and I think that is gonna continue in Midnight from what I'm seeing so far. We could talk about arms, but I feel like I'd almost rather talk about arms in like a separate video. But yeah, Fury's looking awesome. I'm not sure what's going on with arms. We'll probably test both of them. But yeah, let me maybe show you guys a little bit of Fury gameplay. I mean, it looks really similar, but we could do like a little bit. But yeah, Fury's looking awesome. Arms is looking, you know, it's looking like it's got a chance. It's alpha. We're gonna get in there and test everything out. I just wanted to have a quick little Fury run through for you guys to post, you know, in the morning to get this information out to you guys. But once we can actually post videos about it, we'll be able to stream it, and we'll be able to play a lot of it and test a lot of it and talk about a lot of it. But yeah, so far, man, Midnight Fury is looking pretty sick, and we don't even know what the Apex talents are yet, so it's looking pretty good. Maybe we'll go mow down a dungeon real quick and get a feel for the rotation. See you there. Alright, we're going to have to just go ahead and do like a little bit of questing because currently in follower dungeons, we are definitely scaled like way too high or something. So we're going to mess around and do some quests, but check out the new area too. We're in the Isle of Quel'Danas is... Oh, hello? That's where it all begins. Spoiler alert. Obviously, you guys clicked on an alpha video. You're gonna get some spoilers, you know. But so far the starting thing has been pretty dang fun. Been a big day. So it's at the very end of the day, and I still want to record a little something for you guys, but a little schmeepy. But it's been fun, man. It's been a cool day learning about some of the stuff that's on the way, and I'm very, very grateful once again to Blizz for giving the opportunity to check things out. We're going to be doing a little interview tomorrow as well, so we'll have some opportunities to ask some of the devs some questions going into Midnight, and all of that will be happening after the embargo has lifted. So we're recording this ahead of time for you guys. But I am excited to share with you guys there too. I have pretty much just logged in and messed around a little bit of Warrior. But I am very excited to share my experiences with you guys as we kind of explore the game, you know? And a lot of those things will be kind of something that we can experience for the first time together on stream and stuff. But I'm, you know, definitely wanting to share with you guys the Fury stuff first things first. I'll tell you, just like a little preview. I do kind of want to talk about arms a little bit. We put a spec together for arms, and it does feel very similar. I feel like arms is kind of one of those specs that's like, it's okay, but it's kind of, I think it might be kind of due for like a rework, you know? What are these guys up to, huh? Oh. Did we make it? We did. This little barrier reminds me of Annihilation. Like, just uncontrolled growth of nature is very Annihilation. Sorry, my UI is gonna look kind of weird.
You hail from above.
I'm trying to find some monsters to kill. Can we go kill some stuff so I can show people the Fury gains? So what I'm playing right now is Odin's Fury cleaver build, so you're gonna have lots of bleeds on your targets. Everything's gonna have like little extra bleed damage. What do you guys think of the new nameplates too? They look pretty cool. I think it might be kind of nice to have like the option to turn off the names in there, even though like my nameplates are kind of like that already. I think it also shows like how much bleed damage you have on a target too. There's a slightly little darker part of their health bar. But having Fury be back to a bleed spec, or have the option of being a bleed spec, is kind of cool to me. And so if you guys remember like BFA Fury, where you would stack a ton of crit and you'd be able to have like cold steel hot blood on like everything all the time. That's kind of what this reminds me of. With the Thunderclap bleed and the crit bloodthirst. So if you stack a bunch of crit, you're gonna have like the gushing wound bleed on guys all the time, which is gonna buff your Ren bleeds and your and then you get whenever you crit, you get a Bloodborne for a little while, right? It says taking 20% additional damage from Bajheera, but that doesn't seem quite right. That's not probably what I should say. Again, this is the very first stage of Alpha, so there's going to be a lot of things for us to iron out as a community. So
far, stranger. Perhaps
I'm not sure how much is tooltips, how much is whatever, but we'll be going through that and recording some of that stuff. Try to be helpful. Right now, I'm just showing you guys what's up. I can show you guys just for fun. Slayer, actually, I think. Odin's Fury still on cooldown, but I like using Odin's Fury. It's all good. All in all, it feels pretty good. It feels very smooth. They're definitely building on the War Within, right? To kind of establish the basics, and they're not doing like massive class overhauls. Like in the past, every expansion, like the classes were like completely different. I feel like that hasn't really been the case for the last couple, but I think that allows them to get the expansions going and more content out more quickly. But I love War Within Fury, so I ain't complaining. Yeah, I just press on Fury again, can't help it. Slayer feels very similar, it's just you have little gaps in the rotation a little bit more, but I think as soon as you can spec for hack and slash, then you won't really have any gaps in your rotation anymore. I just think it's fun to have the built-in Thunderclap thing, and now it also applies to Ren, which probably does like 0 damage. It's just kind of interesting that you can do it. Aren't these zones beautiful too? Game looks awesome. Not gonna do too much here because I don't want the video to get unnecessarily long. I just wanted to show you guys just a little bit of gameplay, kind of what's going on with it. Let me see what happens with Ren. I mean, it crit twice and it hit him really hard. No. What's hitting him hard is Orwena. Yeah. Ren is doing nothing. Still kind of cool to have it. And also, if you end up buffing your bleeds, and when you're enraged, your bleeds probably do more damage too, right? Yeah. That's sick. So that's the thing, is that I'm not super worried about like damage tuning. I'm just more just like, how does it feel to play this character? And is it cool? Am I excited about having bleeds and stuff? And yeah, I think it's kind of neat. So, looking forward to playing more of this. But yeah, I don't want the video to get too long. I wanted to show you guys the talents. I want to show you guys the basics. Maybe just a teeny little sprinkling of gameplay. But again, we're going to be streaming a lot of this. We're going to do a little interview tomorrow, and then we'll hop on stream. And we'll dive in together. And we'll see what's going on out here. And we'll test out Fury, we'll test out Arms, but probably test out Prod a little bit. I think I will definitely focus on Warrior for a while. But then eventually we could maybe play some other classes, because I know you guys like that. But I'm just following my passion here, boys. I do love me some Warrior, and I do love me some Fury in particular. So I think we'll just keep that going for the most part. That'll be where we start at least. And then we'll keep it pumping, man. But Fury is looking pretty cool, if you ask me. And Thane, I think, is also really fun for the avatar procs and all that other fun stuff too. Should be a blast, and it's looking good so far. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. Looking forward to having you guys in the alpha as well. And see you guys on stream. Peace.